today.
Oh, I told you, Dad,
I'm
about
here to give you the assurance that I have not forgotten you.
If we want to see the new evangelization become more than just jargon, if we want to see it grow legs and gain traction and change the world, we have got to take seriously our responsibilities as husbands and fathers, and especially as sons of God.
I want to propose to you then that something that our world is desperately in need of in the midst of this crisis is Catholic Christian masculinity.
If you want to be a good father, then bring your children to confession with you.
I can't get there unless I become a man of ascesis, a man of asceticism, a man of training.
A man not doing penance, a man not disciplined, is not a man.
You guys have upped your game.
You know what, guys? I gotta say, I love the concept of Man Show.
Warning: the Catholic Man Show is about to begin.
Welcome to the Catholic Man Show. We're on the Lord's team, the winning side, so raise your glass. Adam Minahan here, sitting with David. I call it Revelations in the Bible. Niles.
I don't. I told you not to tell anybody about that. Okay. Because you said that, now some things have to be explained. It's a pet peeve of mine when people call the book Revelations. The book is called Revelation. It's the book of Revelation. It's not the book of Revelations. If you call it the book of Revelations, you should be punched in the face. Lightly at first, then very
as a warning,
and then strongly the second time. Okay? Lightly at first, and then very hard the second time.
So I owe you.
And just a minute ago, I, for some reason, called it the book of Revelations. And as soon as I did, I said, I cannot believe I said that. And then I told my two friends here, please don't tell anyone I said that.
I can't believe you did it, Adam.
The monkey's out of the bottle.
Yeah.
Backstabbing meaning.
Thanks, bro. Thanks.
I thought it was a good name.
Last time I trust you with a secret.
Welcome.
That was a secret.
Oh man, welcome to the Catholic Man Show. Hey, we have Kendra and Jim Tierney on the show today.
I just want to say, Adam, I don't know where you fall in like the first time, second time, punched in the face, but from this point on, consider yourself second time Revelations person, okay?
I'm not the one that was saying it.
I just want you to know, if you say Revelations, I'm going to consider you a second time punch hard in the face, not softly in the face. I just want you to know where you stand in the whole category of punching in the face. Because there's a tier system that I just laid out for you, and I just want you to know where you are.
Oh, man. Okay.
You're the second category.
Fair enough.
Second tier.
Okay. Can you explain to everybody who we have on the show today and what we're going to be what we talking about?
You know what? This is going to be a great show. I'm so excited. We have Jim and Kendra Tierney on the show. So Kendra is the author of Tyranny.
Not Tyranny.
Did I say it wrong? Tierney. Did I say, okay, yeah, Tierney. So Kendra is the author of several books that are very, very popular. She wrote the Catholic All Year book, which really is phenomenal. My wife, Lady Pamela, she has it. She's read a lot of it to me out loud, just because
you can't read.
Right. I mean, like I'm illiterate.
Right.
But there's like, how many books do you have where you feel like I have to read this paragraph to my spouse? You know what I mean?
We do that with the Summa all the time.
Well, obviously the Summa,
but outside of the
Summa,
right?
Like where it's like, hey, you have to hear what St. Thomas says about revelation to the demons. I mean,
Right.
it's like, this is just going to blow your mind.
Yeah.
But this book, she actually has read to me out loud, just because there are, I feel like her stance on a lot of things is just balanced, practical. It just has the ring of prudence when you read it. And so, like, I don't know. It's just a book I think that people should have. Catholic All Year. She has a new book that we're going to be going over, her
This one.
Catholic All Year Prayer Companion, the Liturgical Year in Practice, which I think is a good subtitle because when you practice liturgical living, if you're not praying, then it's
And what are you
just
doing?
Not working.
Yeah.
Or something. So anyway, that's who we're going to have them starting in the next segment on our show.
Yes. So if you're a guy who's listening to the show, is trying to increase your prayer life, trying to increase your family's prayer life, trying to figure out what are the best ways in order to live liturgically within your home, within the domestic church, this will be a good episode for you.
Liturgical living is the secret. It's like it's the key to, in my opinion, to unlocking the faith for your children for real. Okay, you know,
in an authentic,
in a real way.
Yeah.
Because it's when you bring the faith home, right? It's not, the faith isn't just on Sunday at Mass. It's not just, you know, whenever you decide to talk about the faith. The faith is a lived experience. It's not a sermon. You know, it's not something that you just talk about. It's something that you do.
Right. It's not a lecture.
It's not a lecture.
Sit down.
Right, exactly.
It's
something you do. It's something you celebrate. The faith is something you celebrate, and that's really what liturgical living is. It's a way of bringing the celebrations, the feasts home. It's a reason to have cake. It's a reason to like open a nice glass of beer. It's a reason to live, you know. Okay, so hierarchically, it's more important to celebrate the feasts than it is to observe the fasts, because the feasts is an eschatological reality, while the fasts are an earthly reality. Eschatological realities supersede earthly realities.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's more important to celebrate on Easter than it is to fast in Lent. I'm not saying don't fast in Lent. Obviously, That's not what I'm saying. You have to fast in Lent.
Right. Do that.
Yeah, you should definitely do that because it makes the feasts
better.
Way better.
Yeah. This evening, so also we've been getting some emails recently about our show and our format. Just to let you guys know, if this is your first time listening to the Catholic Man Show, we do three things. Almost every episode, the first segment, we open, review, and enjoy a beverage. The second segment, we typically have a man gear of some kind, and then the third and fourth segment and on, we have a topic. So if you're listening, you see the title of our show, and you're like, "Oh, I'd love to listen to this topic," and for the first 25 minutes, it's not about the topic. That is why.
Yeah, don't be frustrated. That's just what you signed up for.
This is our show. We get to pick
it's totally our show.
We get to pick.
Adam, why do we drink on this show?
We drink on the show to observe, to showcase moderation, to enjoy the things of this earth for its goodness, in order to have a good conversation, and in order to, like I said, practice moderation.
Right, because God made the things of this earth good.
And in order to enjoy them for the goodness, you have to enjoy them in moderation.
Rightly.
They
should be enjoyed for their goodness.
Right.
In the right way.
So the one we're drinking this evening is Weller Foolproof. It's 57% alcohol.
114 proof.
114 proof.
So it's pretty strong.
And but I really like Weller in general.
It doesn't taste, when you drink it, it doesn't come across as being 57% alcohol. That's pretty high.
Pretty high. I like weeded whiskeys.
Just embrace it.
Weeded whiskeys.
Wheated whiskey.
I enjoy Wellers in general.
Why am I saying what way?
Right. But so I wanted to see what this foolproof was going to be like. If it was going to be just too much, because a lot of times, this is my opinion, foolproof is too much. It's like,
you mean like barrel strength? Is what you mean?
Barrel strength, foolproof.
Is that what they mean? They say foolproof. Do they mean barrel strength?
know there is a distinction, and I don't know exactly.
Right,
what
because
the
I would have
distinction is.
expected them to just say barrel strength.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't expect the barrel strength to be much higher
than the foolproof.
You know what I mean?
Right, but it is good. It's not as intense as what I was worried it was going to be.
No, you know, like if you were to just try this, you would have no idea that it was.
I think you would.
Well, not that it's this high. I think that you would think it was like maybe 100 proof, 114 proof. I mean, it's a big jump.
Sure.
You know, so to me, it's so smooth. It doesn't have the bite of, I don't know. It doesn't have the bite of being as alcoholic as it is.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Do you think it does? I mean,
I think it does. Yeah, I think it does. I think I wish I would actually have a few drops of water to see what how it would mellow out. But I think it's really good. Hey, do you have your car back yet?
No.
Man.
I'm hoping I'll pick it up this week.
You think so?
Yeah.
That's good. Oh, and hey,
nice.
Shout out to Bernadette Colby. Her feast
Yeah,
day was
she just
recently.
had her feast day yesterday.
Yeah, and and Ignacio Colby, Juan's son.
I want to give props to Bernadette's godfather, a man by the name of Juan Posada. He came over and brought 2 desserts, and he said, in this hand you can have this dessert, or you can have this dessert. Or you can say, I choose both. Because St. Colby, he chose both.
What did she do?
Well, she actually picked one, and I was like, no, Bernadette, no, choose both. You want both. And then she said, oh, I choose both. And I was like, yeah, totally.
Nice. Good job, Juan. Way to go.
It was a good move. Way to go, Juan.
We'll have Jim and Kendra Tierney on the other side of this break. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. I'm David Niles here with Adam Minahan, Juan Posada in studio today. We are joined by the two and only, the people you know, Jim and Kendra Tierney. Thank you so much for being with us today, guys. I am so excited to have you. I am 3/4 as excited as my wife is to have you guys both on the show today. I have this book here with me, right? I brought from my house. We also have another book you guys are just putting out. We're gonna be talking about it again. I'm really getting a little bit ahead of myself.
Yeah, we're
right out of the gate here, but that's just how excited I am. So, thank you so much for being here. We're very
thank you for having us.
Do you want to just, since I brought it up already, Adam, tell them what the book is that you held up? Because this is the Catholic All Year book that I think everybody knows about, right?
Yeah, and they just put out a new one, Catholic All Year Prayer Companion, Liturgical Year in Practice. Almost, there we go. That's good product placement right there. So we're so excited to have you guys as young families. We are always like trying to figure out what are the best ways to live out our faith in the domestic church. How do we do it? You know, what are the ways that have been effective? What are the ways that have not been effective for other people? So we can take that wisdom and try to apply it to ourselves, because we're trying, you know, as we all are, trying our best to pass on the faith to the next generation. And so what you've been able to do is you've been able to kind of take all the wisdom that you guys have accrued over the years and put them into books for everybody else. And so I'm really excited about the prayer companion, the one that you guys just put out, because as everybody, maybe it's just me, I don't know, maybe it's just the Minahan house, but praying as a family can get a little difficult.
Yeah, no, I think that is definitely something that everybody experiences, and that's the reason that this book exists. Was, you know, the goal was to make prayer time go more smoothly, and you know, and especially for you know, busy families, and so that we would have this resource of liturgically based prayers that we would have access to when my husband gets home from work and hasn't had a lot of time during the day to research particular prayers that would be appropriate for the day.
Yeah, and you have 10 children, correct?
Yes.
We do,
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the age ranges are what to what?
1 to 19.
1 to 19. Okay, so
nice.
So out of curiosity, what is a normal day of prayer look like in the Tierney house? Like if I came over tomorrow, what does prayer life look like in your house?
I think our goal is to start the day with the morning offering. That's sort of my I feel like that's if you only get to one prayer all day, if you say the morning offering, then you can sort of count the whole rest of the day as a prayer. So that's the one that I really focus on, with if I've got kids in the car, driving them to school, or my homeschool kids, I try to say it on my own, and then and then say it with them. Our goal is to say the Angelus at noon, to say a rosary in the car, where that's sort of our when trapped in the car with the kids is when we most often get to a rosary.
Yeah.
And then over the dinner table is really where we sort of focus our family liturgical living experiences through food and conversation about the saints.
When you're in the school year, you do the guardian angel prayer with
That's right. Too. Yeah, we do the guardian angel prayer in the morning also, and we say good morning to our guardian angels. It's very cute.
Yeah, and
sometimes you take them to mass with you. While I'm home with little kids. Middle kids get to go to mass with dad in the morning.
Mm-hmm. And I've started doing a guided examination of conscience with our teens at the end of the day every day, called Check In with Dad, and it's it's just a review of how the school day went, or how you contributed to the functioning of the family house. It's not all overtly prayerful, but it's a review of the things that are my obligations and what I should have done and how I did them, and did I do a good job in them, or could I make some resolutions to do them better tomorrow? And then we say an act of contrition, the teens and I, before they go to bed. And I kind of remind them, our teens are kind of encouraged to do their own morning offering right when they hit the floor in the morning. Just get on their knees, say a morning offering, and then review the resolutions from the examination of conscience last night. What did I say I was going to do better today? Oh yeah, that's right. I'm not going to pull any sister's hair at all. So
this is sounding very familiar. Yes.
Yeah. And then they always make their beds prayerfully.
Come down and ask what extra chores they can do.
Right. Yeah. Levitate down the stairs.
Is it just me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mother. This day is a blessing. How can I serve you?
That's
Have you been talking to my children? No, you didn't get that from them.
This morning, I was making waffles, and one of my daughters said, "Well, is there chocolate chips in them?" And I said, "No." And I got the biggest eye roll. It was like, I'm making waffles.
Yeah.
What do you want from me? Go sit in timeout.
I actually I do actually love that the examination of conscience. So my oldest is just gone through First Reconciliation, First Communion, and we've been trying to instill about every 3 weeks or so going to confession together. And I've realized over the last 3 or 4 times that Luke, he's like, well, I don't know, I don't know what to confess. It's not like he's a perfect child or anything, but I realized that I'm not doing a very good job of helping him examine his conscience on a daily basis, or even on a weekly basis, or whatever. So I really like that idea of going through examining, giving them the opportunity to examine their own conscience, so that way when we do go to confession, that we're not blindsided or we're not preparing properly.
Kendra's got a book for that too.
That's true. I do have a book about confession for kids. That's what it's called.
Really?
Oh, nice.
Dude,
yeah, it's from Ignatius Press too.
Oh, I need to go check this out.
This is like a happy moment for Adam because he
Yes.
gets super excited anytime there's another book he gets to buy.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. So have you ever experienced while you're doing this reluctancy from your kids?
For the teenagers?
Yeah, I mean, because there's the guys that are listening right now, they're like, yeah, this all sounds awesome. If I try to instill this, especially as they're a teenager now, they haven't been formed this way. They haven't been grown up this way, but I need to start, which they should. Like, even if they have not been formed, they should start. There's going to be some reluctancy, right? So what would you say to that?
Well, I think, the first thing is that if you have the opportunity to start younger, that's the way to go. And that's going to make everything easier. I hear a lot from families who get a lot of pushback from little kids, and that's really not our experience with our little kids. It's really, prayer, silly liturgical living traditions are really part of our family culture.
Say more about silly liturgical.
No, I mean, I like food puns and things like serving s'mores for the Feast of St. Thomas More because I think that's funny. I like making my kids help me peel apples or chicken or vegetables for the Feast of St. Bartholomew and talking about how he got skinned. And my kids are totally down for that. They love it.
The more gruesome, the martyrdom.
Yeah. So they are on board with all that stuff, and we really don't get pushback on, if we're going to go to mass. They're even used to saying the rosary. They know that resistance is futile on that. But we do get surly teenagers who sneak off and go to bed, or do not participate joyfully in the examination of conscience. But I just think it's about being more, just more contrary than they are, I guess. Just like being willing to stick it out because it's important, even if they're not acting like they're benefiting from it. You just keep doing it.
Yeah, and have to believe it's a channel for grace, and so. Yeah, I don't think it's ever too late to start, and I think that if you are starting with teenagers, to just sort of draw from the business guru book world, start with why, and have a conversation with them and explain why. You know what, and sit down and say, I really want our family to develop more faithful habits in the home, and I could really use your help. This would be a great way for you to help learn, how to be an adult and to further help out our family and be a good example for your brothers and sisters. Or whatever the reason is that the individual picks, being upfront about that and sharing it with those kids, and then saying, look, I'm going to make a habit out of this, and we're going to start doing this. I haven't been doing the examination of conscience their whole lives. I just started in the last year or two, and so it's a new thing that I introduced, and
I think it's been effective.
It's been effective, yeah.
Awesome. We'll be right back. We're here with Kendra and Jim Tierney. We're on the Lord's team.
The winning side.
So raise your glass. Awesome. One down. Hopefully it wasn't too painful for you guys.
No, that's fine.
That's great.
Awesome.
Excellent questions.
Oh, good. Thank you. Dave did all the good stuff. I just kind of piggyback off of what he says.
I think there is more to dive into on that if you want to.
Say that one more time. Your internet's was a little shaky there.
Yeah, we are frozen. There.
Getting a little bit better.
It's a good time to freeze in the break.
Right.
Yeah, we're frozen on the break.
break,
That's much better.
Yeah. All right.
There you go. We can at least hear you.
Okay. All right. Well, I was going to say, I think that I don't know if you usually change topics after the break, but I think there is more to sort of delve into on that, on being open with kids, and especially when you want to change things up.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'll just pick that up on the other side, and we'll just keep rolling with it.
Okay.
Sweet. Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show, here with Jim and Kendra Tierney, the Catholic All Year Prayer Companion, the Liturgical Year in Practice by Ignatius Press. Go check it out, ignatiuspress.com, catholicallyear.com as well. Is that correct? Did I get the URL correct?
That is correct.
Boom. Okay, good deal. catholicallyear.com. On the before the break, we were talking about reluctant teenagers, being like how to introduce a practice that maybe you haven't been doing throughout your life, but you realize all of a sudden, hey, we need to be doing this, or maybe you just now found out, like, oh, that's a great idea. This happens to me all the time. It's like, I didn't think about doing this, and then somebody comes around and says it, and you're like, okay, I got to start doing this, but your kids haven't been used to it. Yeah. You don't have the virtue. It
happens a lot where parents realize,
of it.
like, I'm behind the 8 ball on some of this stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's not because I didn't want to be, or I wanted to be there. It's just I just didn't realize it.
Right.
And so, how do you develop this habit and this virtue of praying with your kids, having them do the examination of conscience, things like that?
Well, like Jim was just saying, it is something that we have changed and that we've developed more recently with our teenagers. And I think that it can be tempting to want to do this sort of father knows best TV show, or the because I said so type parenting. And we've really felt that it doesn't detract from our authority as parents to explain ourselves to our kids. And I think that it's okay to say, we are in charge of you because God said so, but that doesn't mean that we're perfect. And I think that it's okay to sit down with kids and say, hey, here's some things that we think aren't working that well, and here's what we're going to do to try to address that. And we're all muddling through this together, and I think that works, to be honest with kids, about why we want to make changes.
Yeah, I mean, so let me ask you this: how important is your own prayer life in getting buy-in from your kids? And let me just give you a little context. What I mean is that I have this theory that if you are trying to instill things in your kids, especially when it comes to the faith, that if you're doing it from I'm trying to teach you this perspective, it might not work. But if it's more of like I'm sharing this with you perspective, like this. The faith is something that I love and that I live. And so I'm sharing it with you. Like, that's kind of the context of my question. So how important have you guys found your own prayer lives to be, whether your children witness your own individual private prayer lives? Because I'm assuming you have a private prayer life which is separate or in addition to your family prayer life. So could you just talk a little bit about that?
Sure. There's no way around having a lot of togetherness in a family of 12 people. So there's not a lot of privacy and a lot of room to do things completely on one's own. We haven't interviewed our kids and asked them this question. My hope is that when they think back about their dad and they realize that dad was a daily communicant, that is going to have an impact beyond what it may be having on them today. I often think about the story I've heard. I think St. John Paul II tell himself about the example of his father and seeing his father kneeling in prayer. what a gift Mr. Wojtyła gave the world by allowing, his young son to see him in prayer and realize that he needed to, draw closer to God himself, and probably thereby discerned his vocation to the priesthood and ultimately to become the Pope. And so we don't know how these things will impact the next generation for sure, but I think we just have to have that Christian hope that the Holy Spirit is going to work through us, and that is going to multiply the loaves and the fishes to feed the 5,000, where our resources are meager. The resources of God are infinite, and so we do have private prayer lives, and I think I think we have to have faith in a situation where we're dealing with reluctant teenagers and trying to overcome that. We have to pray for them and have faith that that prayer is going to be effective, and that our Lord is going to help us to get through to them in the way that they need. So we pray a lot for our kids.
And I think what you were saying about it can't be something that we're just telling our kids. It has to be something that is authentically part of our lives. And I think that's what liturgical living in the home has. That's a way that it has benefited our family. That that our Catholic faith isn't something that we just go to on Sundays. That it's woven throughout our years and throughout our day, and to be able to use the liturgical calendar as this framework to be able to discuss the lives of the saints and the way that their faith impacted their lives and then the world, to use it to talk about church doctrine, talk about what the Feast of the Assumption means and what we doctrinally believe about Mary and why that's important. And rather than sitting the kids down okay, here today is a lesson on the Assumption and when that became a required belief for you, to instead have a special meal and have a conversation over the dinner table, and to have these positive associations and activities and blessings and prayers and litanies and Dad winging us in the face with holy water, and for our faith to be woven through our actual lives and not. I just think, to me, our oldest is 19, so we don't know how all this turns out. But it is my fervent hope and my expectation that makes the faith, a real part of my kids' lives, and something that would be really hard to walk away from.
Yeah. The other thing is I think they can't help but notice that we invite other families into this practice of celebrating feasts and solemnities and events on the liturgical calendar, bringing other families into it, trying to include their friends in it, always allowing them to invite friends over for the celebrations that we have, and making memories that create those positive associations. And I think will make it obvious to them when they are adult enough to look back and realize what we were doing. We were trying to build a Catholic culture around them that was inoculating against some of the baser elements of our broader secular culture.
Yeah, and I think one of the great things about liturgical living, and as you learn more and more about it, especially with your family, and you're trying to involve that within your family, is it happens around the dinner table, right? Food is heavily involved, drink is heavily involved. Being able to live liturgically, we're body soul composites, and you're able to sit down with a meal and incorporate food that is good for your body. while talking about our faith that is good for our soul, it is just so holistic of a person. So I'm curious on some of the fun things that you guys do as a family that involve food. You already mentioned one of the s'mores with St. Thomas More. I thought that's brilliant. I like that. What are some of the other ones you have?
Let's see. I'm trying to think of things that are coming up for the Feast of the Guardian Angels, Michaelmas. We always have
Archangels.
Feast of the Archangels. We always have that was one of the first sort of community liturgical living celebrations that we started doing and inviting the neighbors over. You're supposed to have goose for Michaelmas. My family does not wish me to make goose, so we usually have something like Cornish game hen, and then we have hot Cheetos and asparagus spears and blackberries. You're supposed to have blackberries because the legend says that that when Saint Michael tossed Satan out of heaven, he landed in a blackberry bush and spat or otherwise defiled the blackberries. So you're not supposed to have blackberries after September 29th. So you're supposed to have a lot of them leading up to that. And we have a devil piñata so that we can bash it with wooden swords, and really a good time is had by all.
Yeah. And then, candy falls out of the devil piñata. I'm careful to instruct the children that really what would fall out of the devil if you were to stab him is banned books. But that doesn't make for a great piñata because someone could get hurt.
If you tell them that the sweet reward is for vanquishing the devil.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah. Kendra frames it up properly.
Yeah.
So our buddy Juan, who you cannot see, but is off camera right now, he is notorious for devil piñatas. One time he brought one. It's been a thing for a while, and he brings them sometimes with various cigars in them as well. So it's the kids and the dads are like both crowding, like when you can tell it's about to go down. The dads are like right there, like
get ready,
okay. Pushing kids over.
Piñatas are a Catholic tradition. The original shape of piñatas in Mexico has 7 points for the 7 deadly sins. So you're supposed to have blind faith, like by being blindfolded, and just whack at the 7 deadly sins, and then
I did
win.
not know that. That is incredible. We will be right back. This is the Catholic Man Show with Adam Minahan and David Niles.
Yeah, and
so
I try to have a priest at the parties.
This is Juan speaking right now.
At the Michaelmas parties. And when the devil piñata is like almost about to break, we let the priest have the last swing to
the final blow,
conquer the devil. And
well done.
Yeah, it's so.
It's like an exorcism almost.
Yes.
But last time he had I got like a nice Oliva cigar. I mean, it was like, it's a pretty big deal.
We have never thought to put grown-up toys inside the piñata.
Yeah.
Really
Maybe it's candy cigarettes and cigars next time. Whatever happened with candy cigarettes,
Yeah. You know what? I had some like a month and a half ago. We were at this, we had a murder mystery party. And somebody brought a bunch of, it was like a 50s murder mystery party. And so somebody brought like,
that's too good.
A copious amount of candy cigarettes.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's too good.
When otherwise, who has candy? How do you even find them anymore,
Yeah. Probably online.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's probably one more food tradition we should mention. If you want to try to fit it in. Speaking of waffles. We have waffles for dinner on the Assumption.
No, Annunciation.
I'm sorry, Annunciation. Sorry. Which kids do not forget.
Okay, yeah, we'll save that for the show, so that way we don't ruin it.
I also would not forget that I am a waffle snob, I guess.
Connoisseur.
Yeah. I can make a good waffle. I made good
She's
waffles
laughing
this
at you.
morning.
No, I'm laughing at the fact that my 13-year-old son came past the "Don't come in here" sign to hold up a piece of paper that says "Snow cones?" ?
The obvious answer is yes. Yeah.
And we bought a snow cone maker. I bought a snow cone maker and then told Jim about it for the Feast of Our Lady of Snows.
Oh my goodness, this is a good idea.
So I have this big theory that like liturgical living, just basically it comes down to just like more opportunities to eat cake, and that's why it's so awesome. I mean, like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand why everyone isn't doing it. You know, like well, okay, I get it that you're atheist, but you're gonna love liturgical living. Okay.
If we can get to it, if we can get to it, I would like to hear from them what they do about fasting with kids in such a big age range.
That's a good idea.
What do we do then?
Fasting.
Oh. I thought you said plastic.
Plastic.
Oh yeah. You guys you allow plastic in your home? Like
The one thing my mother and my oldest son agree on is that they don't like paper straws, and they're willing to let turtles suffer.
Yeah. Paper straws are stupid.
They're cute though.
No.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like they're
I make the same face.
They're philosophically like evil because they don't serve the end for the thing that they're designed for a purpose, and they don't even do the thing that they're made for.
Just drink faster.
But
You know what?
then they become the boss of you.
You know what?
supposed to
I
serve you.
haven't thought about just drink faster. That is actually maybe a better idea. Depending on depending on what's in the drink.
Just chug it.
Yeah. All right, Juan, let's keep rolling.
Actually, there is a way where you can drink faster where you use a straw as an air hole. Did you ever do this like back in college for your bottle of beer? You put a straw, a bendy straw, and you put it out. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? It lets air in. You can drink. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Welcome back to the Catholic Man Show. This is David Niles. I'm here with Adam Minahan. We are joined by the Tierneys, Jim and Kendra, authors of Prayer Companion, The Liturgical Year in Practice. I noticed we didn't mention it. You guys both have manly beverages. Kendra, yours is a supremely feminine beverage.
Yeah, mine's not that manly.
What is it?
But it's delicious.
Baileys and milk, because I can't even take Baileys on its own.
Jim, what are you drinking?
I've got a Balvenie 12-year single malt Scotch.
It's
delicious. It's a little more manly than Baileys.
It's Irish though. I'm supporting our heritage. No, mine. Supporting our heritage.
Well, Kendra, my wife also drinks Irish cream a lot.
Well, I mean, in moderation.
I
mean, you kind of made her sound like, yeah.
Look, we go through a lot of Irish cream. No, actually, it's not even that often, like, because she's pregnant most of the time, but, like, that is one of the things she does like to drink. And when I pour it for her, before I bring it to her, I always drink a little bit because it's just delicious. I mean,
it's very tasty.
Yeah. The queen deserves to have a taster.
There you go. So
you
guys,
can use that free of charge.
Free of charge. There. Hey, so I did have a question for you guys. I know we want to also try to get into fasting per Juan's suggestion, which I think is very good. But before I do, there's going to be guys who listen to this show who think, man, what a blessing it is that you guys are on the same page, right? That you guys are both trying to live liturgically. You both are Catholic. You care about passing on the faith. Not everybody's in that situation. Not everybody is, blessed by being in that situation. So my question is how do you how would you suggest to overcome that? And then I would be curious on Kendra, what is one thing that Jim does that really supports you, that you really appreciate? And then Jim, it would be the same question.
Yeah, I think we have been really blessed to be on this journey together, that neither of us grew up with liturgical living in the home traditions. But as we started our family, we had young kids, they started getting old enough that they were asking questions, and we wanted to have the right answers for them. We wanted to be people who were taking our faith seriously and able to pass it along, and learning about these liturgical living in the home traditions. I know it was really helpful for me in learning more about the faith to be able to pass along, and then, really making it part of our family culture. So we just sort of, we came to this place together, which has been great. So we don't have personal experience as a couple, as a family with people not being on the same page. But when I was growing up, my dad was not Catholic. And so my mom really set an example in our family of non-argumentative, prayerful sort of setting of a good example, and showing him that Mass attendance was a priority, and getting the sacraments for my sister and I was a priority. And I think maybe the most important thing that she did was to befriend other Catholic families. And that when I was in college, my dad, seemingly out of the blue, but really out of 23 years of my mom's prayers, he just enrolled himself in RCIA, and now he is Catholic and an enthusiastic participant in all of our liturgical living traditions, and they go on pilgrimages together, and when we finally were able to corner him and ask him, why are you Catholic now? And it really was the example, when he looked at these other families, he realized that that's what he wanted for his family. And so it's that community aspect, and the influence of other people, rather than, my mom nagging him was really what was meaningful for him.
Yeah. So I absolutely recommend, and to guys who ask me advice, I recommend being on the same page. And that's even to the point of self-sacrificing one's own desire to maybe amp things like this up. As long as the matter's not grave, I don't think we have to be so insistent on it as to be obstinate. So I think if we weren't on the same page, and obviously, look, in every marriage there are disagreements. I think we have a good practice between the two of us of just trying to listen and be to honor the other's opinion and not be overbearing about it. So if this is the sort of thing that just isn't landing well with one spouse, and then I would say maybe it's not the right time to push it. And maybe what to do is a piece of advice that I heard in one of Scott Hahn's recorded talks. He talks about a friend who gave him the advice when Scott was trying to convince his wife Kimberly to come into the church after he had been received into the church. His friend told him, turn down the doctrine and turn up the romance. And there's a tremendous amount of wisdom in just loving the other person better than we currently are, setting out to, like, tomorrow's going to be a day when I love my spouse better than I did today. We should be doing that anyway. But if that's the ultimate goal, if the ultimate goal is to really bring liturgical living into the home full force, and the other spouse isn't on board with it, I would start with loving the spouse better. And as Kendra pointed out, we've been on this journey together. I want to point out that the books are authored by Kendra. I had an editor function, but they're really her vision and her execution, her unwavering devotion to getting them done and making them a resource for families out there. So I just wanted to say that.
And they are inspired by our family life. And you asked what's the one thing that he does that helps me the most, and it's being home for dinner. And I know it's a huge sacrifice for him, and he works really long hours, and he works with people who don't really understand that one might want to be home with their family. And so he makes a lot of sacrifices to be home for dinner. And I like to refer to it as the, apostolate of the dinner, of the apostolate of family dinner, because it really is, it's the way that we outreach to our own family, to our friends and neighbors, and, just being together as a family, and him making the sacrifices necessary to be home with us for dinner, I think has made a huge difference in our family life and in our domestic church.
I'd say what Kendra does that supports me is to work really hard to create a joyful home. I mean, I don't know if my kids like me enough to come running to greet me at the door, but I kind of suspect that she's sort of trained them to do that. But I mean, I get tackled at the door when I come in, and what a great feeling that is to come home to when I have stepped away from the office, when I have stepped away from something that was important, to come home to the family and have it be recognized. And so let me also say that manifests itself, that joy manifests itself in a lot of other ways that support me. We for 14 years in our house, we've dealt with my own fight against cancer, and so if Kendra has been worried or just fearful about what the future holds, she hasn't let me know about it. She's just been rock solid and a model of joy for our kids, and that comes through in our celebration of the feast throughout the year.
If you want to hear the rest of this story, because we're going to keep recording with Jim and Kendra, make sure to hop over to the podcast if you're listening to us on live radio. This is the Catholic Man Show with Adam Minahan. I'm David Niles, here with Adam.
Yeah,
Adam
we're on the
Lord's team.
Winning side.
So raise your glass. Okay. Sorry about that. We just had to.
Well, sorry to go long. I didn't actually pick up on the background music, so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Can you hear it?
Can you hear it?
Can you hear it?
We did it first, but I think since we turned down.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, when it first comes on, I think Juan typically turns.
So it didn't blow our ears
pots
out.
it down a little bit. Yeah.
So at the very end there, you were cutting out just a little bit. It didn't happen to the very end of the show, which is good. I mean, it typically happens for us more often than not. But
seems like it's getting a little bit better now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We still look frozen.
We've got our video is frozen on our end.
Yeah, you were frozen sometimes, but the audio was still okay up until the very end.
Most of the time, the audio kept coming through.
So, but anyway, well,
just so you know, one of our friends who's a priest.
Yeah.
He just messaged me. He said this is one of his favorite episodes so far.
Thank you very much.
It's all about preparing for the feast, right?
Yeah.
And we can see that with our kids. Really do. They come downstairs and they look at our little wall calendar and see, it's a feast day. And they are so good at remembering. I always warn people, if you start something once with little kids, it becomes an unbreakable tradition that we have to do every year after that. They love it and they get so excited about these traditions, and and especially like Jim was saying, it really struck me this sense of community and together. Because before that, I just kind of thought it's something that you do on your own or you do with your family. You go to church, you come home. But the idea that you would celebrate saints and truths about the faith together with your town was really sort of mind blowing for me.
Let me ask you guys this, because it's something my third daughter, her name's Bernadette Colby. We just had the feast of Maximilian Kolbe. What do you guys do? Yeah, yesterday for like feast days for your kids. Do you have a big party?
We do what we call the 3 special days for each kid, which is great, I think, especially in a big family, because everybody wants to feel important and seen. And so on your 3 special days are your birthday, your name day, and your baptismal anniversary. So on those 3 days, the kid gets to be the special kid, and they get to sit where they want to sit, and they get to pick what we have for dinner. And sometimes that's going to be a saint-themed meal, and sometimes it's just what they want to pick. And
some relief from chores.
Right, exactly. And we'll talk about that kid at the dinner table. We'll have people, we'll have the kids go around and say a funny memory or something, or we'll make them say something they like about that sibling. And so it's, and we have a red plate that says "You're special today," and you get to eat off the "You're special today" plate. And so it really is a way.
We have a "You're special" plate. We have a plate that says "You're special."
See, there you go. But it's little things that really don't complicate my life. That if I don't have time to get out to the store, you get to pick whatever you want for dinner. That is already in our house, and we have a dessert, and so feast day, name day, name day, and baptismal anniversary. There are prayers that are associated with it they are in the prayer companion. There's a sort of daily prayer section.
Nice.
That's in there. Yeah, and so there are specific prayers that are associated with those. It's really fun on their baptismal anniversary. I get their candle out, I light the candle, and we renew our baptismal promises. And there's a plenary indulgence available for that, for renewing one's baptismal promises on the anniversary of your baptism.
And that's one of the occasions on which I wing kids in the face with holy water.
Yeah, it's really popular.
Why not?
Yeah.
They get really excited about it. And if they get missed, they
I hear about
it.
Well, while the connection is good, I want to hear about fasting, though. I will not stop recording until I hear about fasting.
So I would say that fasting rules now are pretty are pretty easygoing, especially if you compare them to medieval Scandinavia. But we abstain from meat on Fridays throughout the year, and everybody of all ages does that. And
why do we do that? Why?
Because that is still the officially recommended practice for all Catholics.
Yes.
In the United States, our bishops allow us to make an alternate penance if we so choose, but it's still officially recommended that it be abstinence from meat.
Right.
So that's what we do, and it's another great way to live our faith in community, because our friends from our homeschool group also, when we were planning events, like, oh, that's a Friday, so we'll have to do a meat-free potluck if we do it on Friday, and it really just it brings us those shared experiences. And little kids can definitely handle that, so
you're talking about abstinence.
Yeah, that's abstinence. And then on the fasting days that we are given by the church in order to help us prepare for important seasons and feast days, our kids participate. And I think that even our littlest kids believe they are participating, as much as the older kids and adults are. I'm not going to make a huge stink about whether a 3-year-old has a snack or not, but but they all are aware that it's a feast day, and so our kids can certainly handle 1 meal and 2 collations. It is a pretty forgiving way to observe a fast. And then we like to also observe Ember Day. Like, I shouldn't have said that we like to observe Ember Days, because my teenagers especially believe that I made them up. So we observe Ember Days, which are 3 days of fasting in each, 1 in each season. And there are also recommended fasting days that come before other important feast days, like Christmas Eve is a recommended day of fasting, and Halloween is a recommended day of fasting. But only until we observe that one only until sunset, and then you can. And candy is meat free. So
it is meat free.
That's the abstinence.
Yeah.
I'm still abstaining. Don't look at me. I'm still abstaining.
I'm just eating candied bacon.
But yeah, I really think that it is manageable, and if it's part of your family culture, I think that it definitely is something that kids can manage.
Let me also say that as many of these things, the path to not having teenage boys in a fist fight with you starts when they're toddlers, right? And so they don't hit mom and dad, right, when they're 2 and 3 years old. The path to having,
shout "I hate you" at mom
right.
and dad.
The path to having kids who can fast starts with not giving into every whim of every child who just says, "I'm hungry." And then the parents go running, or have a bag full of food wherever they go, so that we can start cramming graham crackers in the toddler's face at the slightest provocation.
Please be quiet.
Please be quiet. We can say, you know what, mommy's really working hard to make us a great dinner, and it's okay to be a little hungry. We're going to wait till we get home and eat dinner then. And that's fasting. It's a mortification that's a passive mortification, because the opportunity presents itself and we respond gracefully to it. But that's something that we do also, is that we try to have a parenting style that doesn't give in to childish whims, and that we find supports those harder asks that we might have.
And I think it helps too when your 3-year-old, as ours did at the vigil mass last night, insists he is very hungry. You just say, yes, you are. You are hungry.
Agreed.
And that isn't something that necessarily needs to be solved right this very moment. You can be hungry. That's okay.
You will be all right.
You're hungry? No kidding.
Yeah,
I allow it.
Yeah, I will allow it. That's right. Well, guys, really, I just want to thank you for coming on our show today. It has really, you've had a bigger impact in just my own family than I can really tell you. I just have found, I just want to give another testimony that I have found your stances on things to be balanced and practical and very real. I mean, I'm talking everything from how to handle Santa Claus, to interesting things about soaking people with water balloons because of some Polish festival that I found out about.
That's right.
It's
Wet Monday.
Right. It's I'm Polish, and it's I did not know about this until this year. This is the first year I found out about it.
We're helping you become fully Polish.
That's right. That's right. It's I'm
Polar Pole.
I'm allowed to do this because I'm Polish. You're not, Adam. You're not allowed to do it to me. But I'm allowed to. This is part of my heritage. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, guys, really, thank you. God bless you for your work. Please, everyone, go out and get the Catholic All Year Prayer Companion
Well, and let me plug Jim's podcast for a second. It's called The Dad Project, and it's a focused on virtues and is appropriate for Catholics and non-Catholics alike. So you can check that out.
The Dad Project.
Yeah.
The Dad Project.
The Dad Project.
Dad Project.
The Dad Project. Yeah, it's on iOS podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify. It's our website, dadproject.net. And as Kendra says, it's focused on the human virtues. It's not intended to be overtly religious. So it can be a tool for evangelization to the unchurched, to atheists, because I think everybody can agree on wanting to be a good dad. And so starting by making oneself more virtuous and working on the virtue of our kids that's truth. And the truth
leads to good places.
It leads to good places.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I know that you're very busy. You have, like we said, family of 12. It's not like you guys have just a leisurely Sunday.
Like some kids.
Yeah, it's like, but we are
kids.
We are grateful. You've been a blessing to the church and to us, and we wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.
Bless you guys.
Cheers.